here, guys. Okay, wow, for an introductory, I don't even know. So, for anybody that's been following me for a while, and I know I've been super inconsistent, life's just been lifing lately. My name is Izzy. I also sometimes go by Issa, depending on the day. And this is my main channel, which I've had for, I'm going to go ahead and go be safe, say 11 years. Or at least that's how long I've been active on this channel. Active, I'm using that loosely because like I just previously stated, very inconsistently over the last few years. But just always historically known as the little coffee pot channel, which, you know what, I'm going to stand true on that nickname or like tag name that I created for myself, though I don't use it for very much anymore. It used to also be my Instagram handle, but within the last few months I actually did change that, so it's no longer Little Coffee Pot. But that there will always be, I'll always be Little Coffee Pot, just period. And that nickname, tag name, whatever you want to call it, was inspired by me being a crazy teenager and thinking that I could get away with drinking 3 cups of coffee a day and always consistently dropping the second one. So I was a coffee head from a really young age. I still am, clearly. And yeah, so that's never going to change. But as of the last, I want to say year or two, I really have been just like itching to start a podcast because I wanted a space where I could like talk. I've always been this person that just talks to myself, and like even people that I interact with that I'm close to, like I really like to have what I qualify as deep kind of conversations and conversations that break surfaces, barriers, I guess maybe I should say is a better term of phrase for the types of interactions and conversations I like to have with others and myself. And within the last year or two, specifically when I was with my partner, we kind of were, well, it mostly was me. I was just like, I really just like it, but it was birthed from our relationship and just like how we would have these conversations. We'd be talking about stuff that I don't get to talk about with a lot of people on a regular basis. And it kind of just birthed this idea of us like, hey, let's start a podcast. Like, let's just talk about this stuff. And I came up with the name, The Healing Pot Podcast. I thought it was a fun, like, kind of spin-off of my tagline that's been mine for years. So that's where we are now. Like, this is episode 1, truly. Like, it's mostly going to be introductory and mostly going to be, you know, background and why we're here and what the point is. But this is episode 1, which has been 2 years now in the creative making. Like, since then, like, so much has happened. Like, that was an idea that came up 2 years ago when I was, like, really, like, I was living with my partner and we were having these, you know, all the time. And a lot of things have changed since then. And it took a minute for me to, like, finally get to a place where I felt like I could make it come to fruition. So I'm just really happy to be here now. And to be actually just starting it, you know? So with all that being said, and without further ado, welcome to the Healing Pot Podcast. Yay! I'm just really excited. I have so many ideas for what this platform could do, for me and hopefully for y'all. But you know, it's all coming to fruition in the works. So thank you guys for still following me if you've been on this channel for a really long time, and you've been waiting a minute for me to pop back around. But I appreciate y'all for sticking it out with me and making it this far. It is now June 2025. Wow. Literally the last time I posted on this channel was maybe 2021, 2020 more than likely, probably. And like, come a long way. Like, I don't think I really was ever on my channel without like makeup on. Like, I was always like ready to go. And I think that like that period of time that I had taken off of being like active on YouTube can be pointed at a lot of things. You know, obviously there's life. At the time of my last posting, I had like just kind of moved to a new state, which I'm still in that state now. But I had moved from my hometown and I was just kind of like riding the excitement wave of what it felt like to be, like live in a new place. But it was very much against my will. So I feel like at the time I was just like taking in all of this like sensory newness of where I was at and just deeply avoiding a lot of like trauma that like I had gone through to get where I was at that point. So like, and it's funny because like in my videos you probably wouldn't be able to tell, but like me knowing my own self, looking especially back in my videos that I was posting before, not that they weren't good, they were good. Like I did that thing like with editing and all that. Like I really did that. But like I know I wasn't in a good headspace at that point, and it's not surprising at all to me that I kind of tapered off from like posting when the excitement sort of faded and I started getting used to where I was at. So yeah, I've just I've gone through a lot of little mini transformations and big transformations over the last few years, and I'm currently just at a place that I truly never really thought I would get to, but I did. Also, you know what? Let me preface by saying, because I think this is going to be important down the line, if it wasn't already obvious, the point of this podcast, the point of why I wanted to put this together in the first place is to heal from past trauma like that. I have so much that I am conscious of and even not conscious of yet, I'm sure. And it's time for me, especially, to just like really like release all of that. And the best way that I know how to do that is through talking. Like I would say second would be journaling, which I still do. I do a lot. But talking is so powerful, and using your voice is so powerful, and it can heal you and it can heal people around you. It can open up spaces when you use your voice for positivity to heal and to release things that no longer serve you. And that's like all that I'm trying to do this year, especially getting to the point that I'm at, which is still not very far in the grand scheme of where I want my life to go. Like, I have come so far in this small amount of time that I've lived here, and farther than I thought that I would. And so this is like my place to be able to really like rally that and showcase it and talk about my struggles and my vulnerabilities and where I've come from. So with that being said, this whole channel will just be like a little baby slight trigger warning, because we're going to talk about like serious stuff. My experiences are my experiences, and I know there's people out there that have experienced similar things. So this is a safe space. Back to my story. When I moved here, when I moved to this new state from where I was from before, like I said, it was kind of against, it wasn't against my will per se, but like it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't a choice that I made for myself out of desire for newness. Like I wasn't like just trying to dip out. I was in a relationship, and it was a relationship I was in since high school that just ended really badly. My whole family had already moved to the state that I'm living in currently, and I was still back in my home state living with this person and existing there. And this is a lot because I've never really talked about this publicly, but like I said, this year is time. It's just time. It's not like if it hasn't come up in conversations, I shy away from it. Like I've definitely made my peace with it, but talking about it publicly this is the first time. So that relationship ended in 2019, May of 2019. And I had gotten pregnant with this person, and I had a very different outlook. Like I said, I was with this person since high school. So I was under the impression just that we would figure it out and that it would be okay. Like, we were together for a long time, and you know, I didn't know what to do in that situation. I had ideas that, maybe were more fantasy than realistic, but like at the time I was scared, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And so, long story short, I thought that we were good enough and secure enough to maybe be able to handle it. He didn't, and that's totally okay. Like, I got it. Like, we were young. Like, I think I had just turned 21, 22 maybe. And like, I barely knew how to take care of myself. So like, like I said, it was very much, and I'm an idealist and I definitely live in a fantasy land. So like, we were together for a long time. That was enough for me to be like, okay, we can do this. But like, realistically, not that I wouldn't have tried to, had that been what was meant for me. But, I think that the universe works in interesting ways. And although that wasn't something I got to see carried out, I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. And like, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I had made maybe a different choice then. So it just worked out the way that it did. We fell out of our relationship over it. Like, I had a different idea and different wants for us. He had different ideas and wants for us and himself, and I for myself, right? And we did not agree on that, and it was really heartbreaking is probably the best word I can use to describe how I felt in that time, because I was finding out that the person that I was with didn't see that with me in that moment, which again, I think is totally fine as young as we were. But there was no coming back from the words that we exchanged and the heaviness that was carried over from us finding out that we were pregnant. But, I was way too realistic, even in my fantasy mind, to desire to want to try to do that by myself. I knew that was going to be something that was incredibly difficult, and I was honestly just too heartbroken, and I had so much doubt of myself at that time to be able to believe that I would be okay without him. So I made it wasn't an easy choice by any means, but I made what I believed at the time was the best choice to make. And with that being said, also, especially with the things that happened after that, like abortions being banned in so many places, I'm grateful that I made the choice that I made, because that was probably the last chance I was going to get to be able to make that choice of my own free will. So no regrets, really, truly. Like, that should be an option if need be, because you never know what someone's life is going to be like if you make that choice for them. So yeah, that's what I ended up doing. I got an abortion. I moved because I was no longer living with him, and I was in school. I was in college, and but I went to the same school that he did. So like, I needed to get out of that environment altogether. Like, our whole relationship derailed and fell apart right after that. And this all happened in May of 2019, like the end of May. And so, yeah, he stayed there. We stopped talking. Like, it was really bad. And I moved here to be closer to my family so that they could help me through all of that. Cause I didn't do it back there. I did it here when I moved, just so I could have their support. And then that started my existence in this new state. Like, we drove all the way because I had to bring my car to this new state, and it was just a really emotional journey to like come here and realize that so much had changed because of one thing. Like this was not to dwell on it, but like just to paint a picture of how intense it was to move here, and why I think that I've had the experiences that I've had since moving here. It all kind of just sprung from just my entire idea of what my life was going to be like pulled underneath me in a minute from a decision. And yeah, sorry, that's my coffee machine. It's telling me we're off now, no more for you. So that started my journey here, and that's how I ended up in this state. And it was never my intention to stay. I always was saying, like, once I get back on my feet, I'm gonna go back home or somewhere else, but back home more than likely. And that just never happened. I don't think it was meant to. I think I was meant to stay here, and I was meant to let go of all of those past connections that I felt like were constantly reminding me of that person and the life that we had and almost had together. And like I said, no regrets about that. But like, I still carried a lot that I didn't truly fully deal with all the way when I came here. And I've spent the last 6 years learning and unlearning and growing and understanding deeper and trying to grow my own self-love and self-worth back to what it was before. I mean, it wasn't always great. It never was great. And that's a story for a different day. But like, when we're kids, like we're on top of the world, right? And I wanted so desperately to remember that feeling. And I only had that realization that I was missing that a few years ago. So we're here now. We're still working on it. When I moved here, I was out of school because I didn't, like, it took me a minute to get back on my feet. I had to get a job because I had bills to pay still. Like, I paid for my car and, like, car insurance and all that. So I needed to get a job immediately. And I was working when I was in school back home, but I already had, like, pre-set up school. And that was, like, once I had it done, like, I didn't look back at it again. So my priority when I moved here was to just get back on my feet financially and try to get a job. Like, what I noticed, because this is the Healing Pop podcast, and we're talking about things that we've learned and unlearned. I remember when I moved here and I finally got out of that, like, weird zone of post-abortion blues, I guess I could say. And I was meeting people. I made some friends and was going out all the time, doing silly stuff all the time, got into a few car accidents, like just like so many little life things that were happening when I moved here and that I just wasn't all the way fully processing. What I've learned from my past, and it's honestly something I'm still trying to unlearn. I feel like it's trauma from this like princess urge to find that like person that's your person. And like I took that way too seriously and was just like falling for people left and right that just were not good for me, and or I wasn't good for them because of my own stuff, like. And I just remember consistently thinking, like, why isn't this working out? Why isn't this working out? Like, and just getting really frustrated. And that part never really ended. And I think that was just because I really just wanted to feel chosen. I so wanted to feel chosen. And that's a weird mindset to have. It's definitely not healthy. And it took me a really long time to realize the importance in just choosing myself. And it's still something I'm learning, right? Like I think everybody and anybody wants to feel like loved and chosen, right? Especially by someone they like. But I've learned, even with people that I know in a loving way chose me, like my most recent partner, I know she loves me, right? And not one person can give you everything either. There's a lot of things that you need to just be able to give yourself. And as I gotten older, I've realized that more and more. Like, I remember when I moved here, like I said, I was just like constantly searching for that validation and coming home and feeling empty and not worth anything. And it took, I think, this last relationship. I've learned in that relationship so much about myself and others, but definitely myself, that there's so much that I can give myself that I neglected giving myself because I was too caught up in the feel-good feelings that came from receiving it from somebody else. And that was difficult for me to let go, especially coming from a place where that felt like that's where all my worth came from. Like, this is before, like, I became aware. Like, I was just like, I kind of knew, but at the same time, I was like, no, I still think that this person telling me that they love me is the dictation of my worth, and it totally is not. And it took me being in a relationship with my last partner to see that, and truly, it was because of the conversations that we would have and the light that she reflected back at me that I could bring out in her and other people, and the reminder that I'm really cool, like on my own and apart from anybody else. And that was important for me to know, because for a long time I really didn't believe that. I really did not believe that. It's the partner that we inspired this podcast together kind of with. So I'm hoping at some point down the line you get to meet her. For those of you who follow me on social media, you probably know who I'm talking about already. So, and my friends, obviously, y'all know who I'm talking about. But I do hope to bring her on this podcast at some point, because this was kind of our baby. So that was just a little bit of a background story. I'm sorry, I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's all in good faith. It's all in such good faith, and I'm sweating, but like I think that's just the beginning of the release. You know what I mean? But there's so much to share, and I do hope to kind of get this more into like a scripted format. I'm still figuring out this whole podcast setup thing. In the past, my videos were very much just like materialistic. Like, this is more thought provoking and thinking, and like I love that. I'm all about it. But it's different. It's a little different. So I'm gonna cut the video here because I felt like that was a good way to end it off, at least for episode 1. So thank you guys for, staying in here and staying tuned and listening to my little story. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one very, very soon. I'm not too sure what my schedule, I still need to like put together like a schedule for posting and filming, and leave time for editing, of course. But, just stay with me. This is going to be really fun. I'm really excited to just talk with you guys and have these conversations and get really raw and open, and hopefully do some healing along the way. So yeah, that's all I got for you. Have a nice weekend. Go do something fun. Be safe. Look after each other. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.